Calm, young Padawan. Calm. One does not stab the water. Hey everybody. Alright, we are coming to you from Grays River Cove RV Park in Alpine, Wyoming, which is about an hour south of Jackson. And wow, just how time flies. Jackson is kind of the capstone of our summer trip before we just head down to Denver to see some family. So time has just rocketed by. And so I called this episode Smoke and No Signal, kind of being snarky, but there have been sort of two recurring themes that probably contribute to this to be maybe not our greatest hit Airstream travel adventure, but the signal part, we just seemed to hit an unusual number of spots this year that, despite my best research, where I just had terrible problems with cell phones. So it started right away in Durango, Colorado. We were able to recover that by moving a site, but then terrible problems in Tahoe. I looked it up on the internet, and Tahoe, I guess, is very hostile to cell phone towers. So what towers they do have are terribly overloaded. So I ended up working pretty much in the public park for almost an entire week, because you can't really sit inside anymore with coronavirus. So that was kind of a drag. And we hit Howard Prairie Lake in Oregon, and despite all the coverage maps from AT&T and Verizon and my app saying it was covered, it wasn't. So we had to move to an RV park, unexpected expense there. And so then we went to Paulina Peak, which is also in Oregon, and blew out there. So I ended up at another RV park hadn't budgeted for. So then we wound up in Glacier. Verizon was appalling, same issue, overload there, but at the very least, we were able to punch through that with AT&T and the booster, so I was able to work at least. One little note for those of you who are thinking of going to Glacier: they have very strange generator rules. You can only use a generator about 2 hours at meal times, so about 2 hours in the morning and then lunch and evening, and I forgot once and they yelled at me, and so anyhow, so that's the signal part. A little bit of unexpected expense there this year. A little bit annoyed about that, but what are you gonna do? And then the smoke part, we just feel so lucky. We made it through California, Oregon, Washington. We didn't hit any of those fires, and now those poor people are just dealing with terrible fires. And so here, I filmed a little video a couple days ago, and you can see today the mountains are gorgeous, but when we got here, smoke was just horrific, blowing in from those other states, and my asthma has just been horrific on this trip because of it, which is too bad, because I sort of had come to associate airstreaming with better breathing, which usually has been the case. So anyway, enjoy the episode, and we'll show you what we were up to. Made it to Tahoe. Water is crystal clear, not too cold. Hey everybody, out for another ride. So we're in Lake Tahoe, and holy crap, definitely not our style. The traffic here is absolute lunacy. So very seemingly Californian. They've put the road as close as they can to the water, and then parts that aren't road are segmented off to different houses and developments and teeny tiny little slivers for public beach. But we're staying in William Kent Campground, and it's just a few tenths of a mile from a wilderness preserve here. So it's not really a preserve, but from no development. And so we're on the Ward Creek Green Trail here, which only goes a mile or so, but connects into the Stanford Trail, which is a blue. And if they rate their trails here the same as they do in Mammoth, probably that trail's blue because of fitness instead of tech. As you can see here, something very unfamiliar on the ground. I'm being snarky, but it's pretty loamy here compared to Mammoth that was just all sand on top of sand with some more sand. So we're gonna see how this trail goes. So I bumped into a sign by the Tahoe Mountain Biking Association, and explained that freaking 14% that I just rode for felt like a mile, but probably wasn't. But nonetheless, was part of a 1800s era logging road. Apparently they chopped down all the trees and brought them down on skids. So Tamba is replacing that with this, which is a realigned, purpose-built mountain bike trail that avoids drainages and meadows. Well, initial impressions of the Stanford Trail. I was hoping to get some iconic views like this, and we finally did. But it is a brutal trail. As the signage mentioned, it follows an old logging trail for quite a bit of the ways, and that thing was averaging 14 to 16%, so I stopped about 3 miles in here before I gave myself a heart attack. But good thing I kept going, because that is a stunning view. We've got a little alpine meadow down there, and then what I've learned is Lake Tahoe is the largest alpine lake in North America, 15th deepest lake in the world, and it's about 21 miles long by 12 miles wide. The water temperature averages about 40 degrees, although surface temperature can get as high as 63. So, gotta admit, pretty stunning view. This trail reminds me actually a lot of the redwoods. Very quiet, loamy, incredibly steep, and very humid. But it does not have that very, very distinctive sweet redwood aroma. Well, got to see a deer. All right, everybody, this is Howard Prairie Lake minus the lake part. Evidently, they drained the lake because they're working on the dam. It is still, I mean, stunning, Oregon. We've never been to Oregon. What a wonderful way to start our adventure. Just beautiful smells. It's cool up here. Absolutely gorgeous. Unfortunately, we can't stay because the cell phone coverage map app that I use to tell me where we can go so I can work from the trailer said there's coverage here, and I barely get 1 bar, so even with the booster I can't work here. So sadly, we have to leave. The dulcet life of living in an RV. This morning, this little guy went off, and that's a propane detector. And there's 2 reasons that you want to be concerned about that, is because 1, you can blow up your trailer, and 2, your body will not alert you that there's a lot of propane and suffocating you because it doesn't cause CO2 buildup. So I thought about it, and as it happens, as you guys know, I had the furnace replaced. So I thought maybe the most likely culprit would be one of these compression fittings. So this is the compression fitting for the stove, and there's another one down in there you can see for the furnace. And there's a third one that is outside for the fridge, and we presently have the fridge in gas mode. So my theory was that one of those connections was loose. But after I opened up the stove, I hate this stove. I hate it. I'm gonna have it replaced just like the furnace because I hate this thing. It's ultra cheap. So you can see that the way the gas is channeled is it comes in through here. This is basically a manifold, right? And then these valves enable gas into one of these lines. And you can see these lines, they're just barely held on here with a tiny little fitting of plastic. And then this allows the fitting to draw in a little bit of oxygen before it carries it up to the burner. I found this one almost completely laying off. So I think maybe when we were cooking this morning, I think it was actually probably that. So I've got the furnace on, and I've got the fridge forced to gas mode to try and see if I can cause this thing to go again. I think maybe it won't. Paulina Lake. It's a filled up volcano. Well, we made it to the top of Paulina Peak. I would absolutely say this was worth the climb. It's about 1,300 feet. It took me an hour and a half, but Tina scampered up it, no problem. Tina and I are here in Washington, so neither of us has ever been. We're close to Lake Wenatchee, and we're expecting to see vampires and mood-setting fog, which has been somewhat of a disappointment. Instead, we're seeing record-setting temperatures. Up here in the mountains is going to be like 103 today. So we got at it early, and we're going to hit a ride close to Goose Creek Campground called Lower Chiwawa. So we're going to see how that goes. It's supposed to be a green. Well, we're still waiting for the vampires and the mood-setting fog, but it's been a pretty neat trail. Green, easy to climb. The whoops are kind of fun when you're not climbing them. Very sandy. Obviously, whoops are more fun on the way down. Yeah, they're fun. Oh, it's pretty. Okay, Missy Bear, I would like your impressions of this.
It's beautiful. What do you, I mean, of course. It's clear, it's crisp, it's just gorgeous. But let's just keep doing 2 rights. And then left. And 2 left.
Calm, young Padawan. Calm. One does not stab the water. Oh, but she did. Now we're gonna pay the price. Here we go. Here we go. Spinny spin. And